She held her baby brother close in the snow until a cowboy came along. I almost rode past them. That's the part I'd keep coming back to. How close I came to not seeing them at all. It was February. The kind of February that makes you wonder why anyone settled this part of the country in the first place. Snow coming sideways off the flats. Wind that got under your collar no matter how tight you pulled it. My horse had his head down and so did I, and we were both just trying to get somewhere warm before dark. I was passing through the edge of the town called Mill Haven, or what was left of it. Half the buildings had been abandoned when the railroad went a different direction. The ones still standing looked like they were only staying out of habit. And then I saw her, a little girl, maybe 5 years old, maybe 6, standing in the gap between two buildings, out of the worst of the wind, but not by much. She had a baby wrapped against her chest, wrapped in what looked like a man's coat, turned around and buttoned over both of them. And beside her, pressed to her leg, was a boy, smaller than her, 2, maybe. She was crying, not the loud kind, the quiet kind, the kind where the tears just come because the body has run out of ways to hold them back. She wasn't calling for anyone. That's what stopped me. Not the crying, the silence underneath it, no one's name being called. No mama, no papa, just quiet crying in the snow. I pulled up. Most folks see something like that and keep moving. I understand it. The world is full of trouble. That isn't yours, and you can't carry all of it. I know that. I've ridden past things before that I should have. This time I didn't. If something about that pulls at you, stay with me a while. I think you'll want to hear how this one ended. I got down slow, crouched in the snow so I wasn't towering over her. She pulled back when I came close, pulled the baby tighter, and the little boy grabbed her coat with both fists. I put my hands up, open, palms out, just let her look at me. After a moment I said, "I'm not gonna hurt you. Where's your mama?" She pressed her lips together, looked at me like she was deciding something important. Then she said, "Inside. She won't wake up." I don't know why I remember the exact words, but I do. Every one of them. The building she pointed to was a rooming house, or had been. The door was unlocked. Wasn't much of a door, truth be told. Half the hinge gone, and the wood warped from wet winters. Inside it was dark and cold, almost as cold as outside. There was a woman on a cot in the back room. I won't go into all of it. Some things don't need to be said in full. She was alive, barely. Fever so bad her skin felt like the side of a stove. She'd been down for, well, from the look of things, the ashes in the fireplace were 2 days cold at least, maybe more. The children had been managing on their own. There was a half-eaten tin of something on the floor by the cot. One blanket over the woman. The baby's wrappings had come from her. Coat. The girl had taken her mother's coat, cut it apart best she could with a small knife, and wrapped her baby brother in it. She was 5 years old. I stood there for a moment in that cold, dark room, and I thought about a lot of things. None of them were useful right then. So I put them away and started doing what needed doing. There was a doctor in Millhaven. I use the word loosely. He was a man who'd studied some medicine and charged accordingly. His name was Pruitt, and he had opinions about everything, and a manner that made you want to argue with him even when he was right. I didn't much like him, but he came. He came out in the cold with his bag, and he didn't complain about it, which I'll give him. He looked at the woman for a long time without saying much, sent me to get more firewood, sent the girl, her name was Ada, I'd learned by then, to find whatever water she could. Ada went without being asked twice. That struck me. The way she moved, not like a frightened child, like someone who had been the one responsible for a while and had gotten used to it. The baby on her hip, her little brother following close behind. She'd been keeping those three alive, however many days it had been. I don't know if I could have done what she did at that age. I honestly don't. The woman's name was Clara. Her husband had gone east looking for work 3 months prior and hadn't written back. Whether that meant something bad had happened or just that he was the kind of man who disappears, I never did find out. She wasn't in a state to talk much, and later, when she was, she didn't bring him up, and I didn't push. Pruitt stayed most of the night. I stayed too. Slept in the chair by the fire, which I got going again and kept going. The children slept in a pile near the warmth, like 3 small animals. The baby's name was Thomas. He was 4 months old. Around 2 in the morning, Ada woke up and looked at me across the fire. She said, "Is my mama going to die?" I said, "I don't know. The doctor thinks she'll make it, but I don't know." She nodded, like that was an acceptable answer. Then she said, "I kept Thomas warm. I didn't let him get cold." I said, "I know. You did good." She looked at the fire for a while. Then she lay back down and went to sleep. That was all. Clara pulled true. It took 2 weeks, and it wasn't easy, but she pulled through. I stayed in Millhaven longer than I intended, partly because there wasn't anyone else, partly because, I don't know, something about that place had gotten into me. The people in town helped more than I expected. Pruitt waived his fee, which surprised me. A woman named Hetty from the dry goods brought food over every other day without being asked. A couple of the men repaired the door and put real hinges on it. Not everyone helped. Some looked the other way and kept walking. That's just how it is. But enough did. The morning I left, Clara was up and on her feet, thin, still, moving carefully, but up. Ada walked me out to my horse. She stood there while I got settled in the saddle, the baby Thomas on her hip again, same as the first time I'd seen her. Old habit by then, I supposed. I said, "You take care of them." She said, "I know." Not like a child saying it, like someone who had already decided. I rode out, didn't look back for a while. When I did, she was still standing there, just watching Thomas on her hip, the morning light behind them both. I've thought about Ada a lot over the years. Wondered what she became, whether life gave her room to be a child at some point, or whether it just kept handing her things to carry. Some people are made strong by what they go through, and some are just worn down by it. I've seen both. I couldn't tell you which way Ada went. I hope she got some rest somewhere along the line. She'd earned it. A child who wraps her baby brother in her mother's coat and stands quiet in the snow, not calling for anyone, not asking for anything. That's not something you make. That's something a person already is. I don't know why some people come into the world already carrying that kind of weight. I never did figure that one out. Still haven't.